Hi, welcome back to the Cannabis Sommelier. I'm your host, Andrew Freedman. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Cannabis and Wine Pairings. Today, I have a wonderful wine from the Veneto region, northeastern Italy, and a wonderful rosin from one of our favorite Alberta producers. So let's dive into the wine like we always do. Today, I have a Valpolicella Ripasso from Giusti Wines. Now before I tell you all about Ripasso, I want to explain that this wine actually does not go through the Ripasso method. It's actually an Amarone in the bottle, and maybe I'll dive into that a little bit too. So Ripasso and Italian wine labels, kind of hard to understand. Valpolicella being the place, Ripasso being the winemaking method. If you know about Italian wine, then Valpolicella wines have Corvina, Molinara, and Rondinella in them. The Ripasso method takes one extra step on top of a Valpolicella base wine, which would just be like your normal still wine. The Ripasso goes, Ripasso translating to repress, actually goes through a second fermentation. The way that happens is when you make an Amarone, you have to do this method called a passimento, where the raisins are completely dry, or the grapes are completely dried in humidity controlled rooms into raisins, and then it's pressed off. That pumice, the leftover grape pumice, is then taken and placed into a Valpolicella still wine to let it re-ferment, add a little bit of alcohol in body, and that's where you would get a Ripasso. Sorry, I'm losing the camera here. There we go. And that's how you would get a Ripasso wine. So this one is from Giusti, and like I explained, there's actually Amarone in this bottle. In their they only make their Amarone in perfect vintages. In their weaker vintages, they will always make this Ripasso. 14% alcohol. This is the 2013 vintage. Very cool. Giusti Wines. They're a Calgary-owned and operated winery located in northeastern Italy. The owner, Mr. Giusti, Joe Giusti, immigrated to Canada 44 years ago, string of very successful construction companies, and then got into the wine business after inheriting a vineyard from his father-in-law after he passed away. Set out to make great wines. They're actually featured a few of their Proseccos. They're the biggest private landholder of Prosecco grapes in the world, so that's pretty cool. But they also make amazing red and white wines, still wines, and some great grappa as well. This bottle is awesome value because, as I explained one more time, it is basically Amarone in there. So let's give it a pour. The wine, deep in color, you know, ruby with purple, but it's thick and dark. You can't see through it. The rim is very nice, goes to a crisp dark ruby on the outside. On the nose, it has this smell of violets, dried raspberries, cherries, a little bit of cherry cola, and a little bit of leather as well. It smells really delicious, very rich, very full. The bouquet is jumping out of the glass, quite fragrant. On the palate, what makes this a great wine is the amount of acidity and how beautifully balanced the oak is. Again, it's like flat cherry cola, overripe raspberries, cherries, this little bit of leather, a little bit of violet flower. Very complex, very beautiful. This bottle's drinking absolutely delicious. I have had this wine before, and this is definitely a standout bottle. Wonderful. The oak treatment is just so finessed in there. It's balancing perfectly. Wow, that's a great glass of wine. The extract I decided to pair it with is from Winter Solventless Extracts at Alberta Solventless on Instagram. And this is 1.1 grams of Grape God rosin. And I don't know if we can see the bottom of this. Maybe I'll get it to focus up there. We'll see what happens. But it is absolutely delicious. This very cool swirl happening on the bottom. This is flower rosin. It's really doing some cool things in the jar. It's kind of been changing since I got it. I think that looks very, very cool. So as I mentioned, 1.1 grams in the jar, which is very nice. The heat seals as well. I know he's looking at boxes, and if you're interested in doing a cannabis and wine dinner, you're in Calgary, Winter Solventless is our sponsor, September 15th. Open up the heat seal. You know, it's nice that they're on there. It's better if it's hard, I guess, to take off. Wonderful. Looks cool on top. I don't know if this went through the Diet Funk tech, the jar tech, but smells quite delicious, like a medium plus pungency. Grape God being a cross of grapefruit and God bud. Very cool. God bud created by Jordan of the Island Genetics in Vancouver Island. I believe crossing Purple Skunk Hawaiian and God, an unknown strain. But he is the originator, Jordan of the Island. And then this crossed with grapefruit became Grape God. So smells quite delicious. It looks very cool. It definitely has these grapefruit, kind of chalky grapefruit aromas, like if it was chalked grapefruit candy. A little bit of almost fresh lime. But there's like, it's like a synthetic grape. It's a very synthetic grape underneath. I'm gonna stir it around a little actually, see if I can get it to open up. Very cool how it breaks. That's very interesting. Yeah, lots of grape, lots of like grape stem, crushed grape leaf. It's like if I picked a whole bundle of grapes fresh off Concord grapes, squished them in my hand. Delicious. I hope this pairs well. It's very hard pairing red wines. Sometimes when there's very sweet terpenes, it overtakes, and that's why I thought the Grape God with its kind of, I guess a great description would be a vitis character. I never like saying wine smells like grapes because it's all grape juice, but when it really smells like grapes, I always say it has a vitis characteristic, vitis vinifera being scientific name for wine grapes. But a very vitis aroma. A little bit of white pepper. Delicious. Let's see how it smells with the wine. It definitely turns the wine much more like barny. I hate saying that as well, but it's that leather that I mentioned, the violets that I mentioned, and the flat cherry cola all stand out so much, but it actually smells prettier when I add the Grape God in. Wow, from the wine to the Grape God, it makes the Grape God smell very, very sweet. Much more of that sweet Concord grape that I mentioned. Wonderful. I don't even know. This one's a hard one to explain. There's so many subtle nuances that are just absolutely beautiful in both of them. Wonderful. Well, let's see how they pair on the palate. There, get a nice dab. It's nice consistency. There's definitely some pockets of you know, terpier stuff and nice butter. I have my e-nail and my niche tube set to 550 as always. Yeah, and what I love, when I first started tasting rosins a lot, there's always this very specific rosin taste, hashy taste. As I understand, this is flower rosin, and there's very little to none of that taste. On my palate, extremely pungent of sandalwood and like rich musk. That synthetic grape flavor piercing through, but there's some big time like grapefruitiness, citrusiness sitting right in my olfactory reflex. Really sitting heavy, giving me a very nice finish. Moment of truth. Wow, killer, awesome. I love it when red wine pairings work. This is one I hadn't tried off camera, and that is phenomenal. It made it taste like we know when the pairing works, it increases the body, and it gave it this beautiful creaminess. Made it very blueberry, blackberry, cherry, raspberry, just like thick, delicious blue, black, and dark red fruit juice. Wonderful. Awesome. That's fantastic. I'm thinking about salami, lots of salami, bruschetta. I'm thinking about prosciutto and bruschetta at the same time. Bruschetta would be great, you know, antipasto kind of stuff. Would be wonderful to start the meal. If you're thinking for an entree, I'm definitely thinking about a braised lamb shank. That was an awesome pairing. I hope you'll check out some Giusti Valpolicella Ripasso. Great value for what it is. Sorry it didn't focus, but I'm sure you saw it at the start of the video. And definitely go check out Winter Solventless Extracts. Grape God was awesome. Until next week, I hope you make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Cheers!